Discover your recipe. Take the risk and make your dreams come true. Find out the secrets to success on the Recipe Podcast. And now here's your host, Chef Charles Carroll.
Welcome into the Recipe Podcast, Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life. I am your host, Chef Charles Carroll. What a great day and what a great show, man. We have a special show today, don't we, guys?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty cool when we have legendary guests in the house. So in the green room, we're not going to waste too much time on our silly little banter, but we do want to make sure everybody listening to our show knows that we have the Recipe Podcast producer, the lovely and talented Jessica Collen in studio. Say hey, Jess.
What's going on?
And we also have Phil Phoenix.
Hey, there it is. You said it right. He's getting good at this.
Yeah, man.
Got it.
After the 30th show, man, I'm getting back. So we got the Phoenix in house, and he pushes all the buttons for us and does the editing and sound engineering. So we're always happy to have both you guys in house.
Always happy to be here.
Yeah, it's always good to be somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we have a legend in the house, and our listeners now, I think we're 15 countries now, adding up. I got a nice couple texts the other day.
Yeah.
So from China. So that was
China.
Yeah, it was a little bit broken, but
any from Korea?
I think
now at the Olympics.
I think they liked us. I'm not sure what they said, but nothing about Korea. But I did want to get into Korea on the next show because obviously the Olympics are in house.
Pyongyang.
Yeah.
Pyongyang. They're in Pyongyang.
Pyongyang.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about on the news. I don't know if you guys caught this, but they're telling all of the broadcasters to say it Chang as it's spelled, but it's actually which is CHAN.
Yeah.
But it's actually pronounced Chung. But they're telling everybody to say Chang because they don't want to confuse everybody, which I think they're already confusing us because they're telling us to say it differently. So I don't know.
I like Pyongyang.
Pyongyang.
You guys study up on that. But listen, so Jess, what's going on here? This is a big day for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
I won my diet bet.
Ooh, she gets paid in candy.
I get cold hard cash is what I get. I don't know how much yet. We'll see if the other people won too.
This is the thing that I call
Everybody wins?
I call bullshit on all this.
No, not everybody. You have to weigh in to win. Like you have to meet your weight. And I was a pound under.
Nice.
Yeah, but she drag her ass in here today. I can't.
I may
water.
I may have starved a little bit yesterday, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, I couldn't get shit out of her yesterday in the office. She's like, girl, what is wrong with you? Her head sitting on the computer and everything. And it's like, she's starving herself so she could make this bet.
I didn't completely. It was only the last day that I was kind of a little slightly maybe.
Okay, maybe 3 days. Last 3 days.
No, I've just been eating a lot of veggies. Lots of veggies. So yesterday, like barely ate.
No carrots, right?
No carrots.
Why? What's wrong with carrots?
There's super a lot of sugar in those.
Yeah. I was eating carrots and hummus thinking I'm being all healthy. And he's like, that's just sugar and fat. I'm like, oh.
I'm like, Jess, what's going on, Jess? And she's like bobbing her head on the computer, like, what's going on with you?
Okay, that's an over-exaggeration.
So you have to take pictures of yourself on top of a scale.
I
and
did.
All this kind of bullshit.
I did.
That's not right. I mean, you could fix the scale. I mean, Phil could have helped you out with all that technology.
Well, actually, because Katie was convinced that my scale was broken, so I had Josh bring over his, so that we all three weighed ourselves on both scales, and it was funny because there was such a difference, but it wasn't that big of a difference.
Well, that's congratulations.
Thank you.
And Eric, the trainer, will be very proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah, so good for you.
Feeling good.
Yeah, and Phil, you're clean shaven, man. Got a haircut. You got a big weekend coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I got to go take some pictures with my daughter. It's her birthday on Monday, so
the old family portrait.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do it every year because my parents didn't do that when we were kids. So
yeah, sure.
Just random pictures.
Well, they never knew where the hell you were.
Oh, that's true.
Where is that little bastard anyway? Well, we were gonna take pictures today, but anyone couldn't find him. No. Good for you for being all responsible.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, clean shaven before. I mean, this is early in the morning though, so it's good.
I know.
Good. It's too bad we don't have a camera in studio.
Right.
See how healthy you guys are, and
maybe next time.
Jessica's got a piece of cake in front of her, and
no.
Hey, well, listen. You know what, listeners? If you're stumbled onto our show for the first time, thank you for that, and hope you keep listening. We have some amazing celebrities that share their story with us, and their secrets to a successful life, and there's no better to tell his story than the person that we have in the green room. So you got to hurry up and come back, and we're going to take a quick break. But also, if you want to listen to the rest of our shows, you can listen to them on Helium Radio. We do 2 live broadcasts there on Mondays at 4:30 Central. We do a live show there. And also chefcharlescarroll.com or Stitcher or iTunes or all those places you find podcasts. Go there, and play all these amazing shows from these celebrities that are sharing their life with us. So with that, Phil, we're going to take a break.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Today's Unplugged edition of the Recipe Podcast is brought to you by Recipe Productions. They are the creative minds that bring you the Recipe Podcast, as well as Chef Charles Carroll's latest book, The Recipe, a story of lost love and ingredients to greatness. If you'd like to purchase this book or his other books, Leadership Lessons from a Chef and Tasting Success, head on over to his website at chefcharlescarroll.com.
Welcome back into the Recipe Podcast, Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life. I'm your host, Chef Charles Carroll. We have Jess and Phoenix in house. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up?
So we're excited because we have Mr. Phil Collen in house, coming out of the green room right now, and what an amazing lead guitarist, rocker, man. This guy is a rock star from Def Leppard, and he's been doing it a long time. And we want to bring him in studio so we can learn everything about this guy and what he's done over the last, I don't know how many years, a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been rocking it a long time.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and bring in Phil. Phil, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. And you're up there in New York right now with a bunch of snow around you. Is that right?
Bunch of snow. It's freezing up here. So we've been lucky. I'm on the G3 tour, which is a guitar. Joe Satriani put this tour together like 20-something years ago. And it's me, John Petrucci from Dream Theater, and Joe Satriani. And we will get to play lots of guitar. But we've been great with the weather. It's been really cool until we got to New York. And then it was like, ouch.
Yeah, man. That's I think you're close to Albany right now. I used to work in Rochester, which is just a little ways away from there. So
same deal. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Same deal. It's all covered in snow. Freezing.
Yeah. So, Phil, you've been doing this a long time. Tell us a little bit, just to get the show started. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how it all started. And we have tons of questions, but tell us a little bit more about yourself.
All right, so I joined Def Leppard in 1982, and we was recording the Pyromania album. We had no idea it was going to explode like that. MTV was in its infancy, and everything kind of lined up. We'd made a great album. It was like totally radio, friendly, and MTV. It was, that loved the band. It was kind of like, we kind of fit in amongst Duran, Michael Jackson, and all that stuff. So. That kind of blew up, and that kind of changed everything, So, we've only ever taken 1 year off, which was 2010. Other than that, we've been recording and touring constantly. So, and it's just, we're having a bit of an Indian summer with our career. We just released our whole catalog on digital. It was one of the last bands to hold out. We felt that it wasn't the right deal. We'd put so much effort, energy, money. One of us had lost an arm, one lost his life. We thought, we ain't gonna give this music away. We actually want, it's got more value. So we held out, and so like 2 weeks ago, we just released the whole thing. So it's we'll be promoting that for the next probably 2 years on tour. So it's pretty much non-stop.
Wow. Well, what a tribute to you guys. We had this conversation a little while back about how teams can stay together, whether it be an NFL team or a basketball team like the LeBron, who always seems to have an issue with somebody. And then you have these amazing rock bands. There's just a few on one hand that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. You guys are in business together, you travel together, you're on a bus together, you're in hotels together, and you're doing it day in and day out. What do you contribute that to success? Because certainly there are some tough times, right? And there's arguments and So how do you?
I think the main thing is, you can't let the ego run anything. And as soon as that, when you look at all these other bands, they kind of, some of them act really childish, and you go, that's so weird. We started this, we were boys, we really were, and we went through this transition to semi-grown men. You know, everyone got married, kids, divorces, births, deaths, everything. You know, so you experience all this together. And in our case, I do, and this is really weird. I actually put a lot of it down to our parents when we were growing up, the value system. You know, my mum and dad, you know, they would be in the air raid shelters. You know, the Nazis would blow in London up, and Joe Elliott had the same. You know, these parents would go down to the to these centres, like either the train station or these air raid shelters. And yeah, I remember talking to my mum, and I'm going, that sounds crazy. You know, in the middle of London, you know, someone's trying to blow that up, you know, every day, you know, with these airplanes. And so they kind of installed this very amazing working class value system into all of us. And we kind of apply it to everything. And I do think, you know, the further you get away from catastrophe, the less respect and all this other stuff. You know, you have kids now that have no idea anything like that, you know, any kind of sacrifice or really hard times. You know, we it's pretty cushy. Even you know, I know there's a lot of poverty even in this country. There's tons of it all over the place that we don't get to see. But I think the whole country suffering together has a different effect, and that kind of shaped us. So the band, you know, we kind of go through trials and tribulations and all that stuff, and come out the other side. And I do think that little things like someone having an ego or something like that, we just dismiss it, dispel it, and we have no time for it. So it's one of the reasons we're able to sit here, you know, 35 years after, you know, Pyromania came out, 30 years after Hysteria came out, and still do that at such a high level. We actually appreciate it, and keep getting better as well. I think there's something there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got that right. I mean, you guys are. I mean, what a tribute to you. And I think there in the younger years, there's, well, at least I can speak on my behalf, that you have, you know, when you're younger and you don't know anything, that's when you had the ego. And then when you're older, and things start going really well, and then you start open your eyes and appreciate everything that's around you. And
definitely,
yeah, and
definitely,
yeah. Well, that's an amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, a lot of people don't get to that stage because they get tripped up by the ego thing at one or the first hurdle or something, you know, and they never really get to that. So we've experienced all of this stuff together. You know, we lost a band member, Rick had this terrible accident, and you know, we came out the other side, and you know, he did, and it's a testament to kind of just a bit of ambition and just drive, you know, that you have to. I mean, the alternative is not do anything. So we wasn't going to do that, and we're just really excited about everything we do. We do appreciate everything that's happened to us, and you know, all the good stuff anyway. So no, it shapes us. It's pretty cool.
Well, tell me now. We have a mutual friend, our buddy Eric, the trainer, and a special guy. The guy's never had a bad day in his life, and
I know, right? That's very inspiring. Gee.
I mean, really. I mean, I just love him to death. He's so. I don't know how long we've known each other, but I just love him, you know. And that's how we're sitting here together, you know, today through him. But so you're working out with Eric, and he's getting you in shape, and so how did that all work out? How did you stumble on to working out with Eric, and how'd that all begin?
Well, first off, you know, talking about he never has a bad day, I went in to train with him a couple of months ago, and you know, Alicia said, I think he's snapped his Achilles tendon. And, you know, I get in there, I think he's going to be like sitting in a corner somewhere. He's like, okay, let's go. I said, well, what about this tendon? He said, it's fine. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong. And he bruised it or something. But he wasn't even slightly bothered. It was like, you know, another day at the office. And, you know, I met him a couple of years ago. Actually, we done the celebrity sweat thing. You know, he came down to my house, just done we did that, and then we just got talking, and it really made perfect sense. Apart from being the most wonderful human being, it really makes sense. You know, as you get older, you don't want to injure yourself if you're training and stuff. You know, I have a really good diet. I research. You know, I'm a vegan. I've been a pure vegetarian for like 35 years. And I made the transition to total vegan probably about 8 years ago. And that wasn't a big deal, and you know, I get enough protein and all of that stuff. But you know, Eric was like, you know, as we get older, I just turned 60, and he said you don't want to injure yourself, like tendons and stuff like that, because of the healing process. It's a lot longer. So he modified the whole workout thing. So I don't do crazy heavy weights, but you know, he got me ready for we done Rock in Rio last, you know, October, or for September, October. And he got me in killer shape, you know, like superhero, Marvel superhero shape. And we were doing so much, you know, I used to bench 380, you know, at 155 and all of this stuff. And I don't go anywhere close to that. It's like, if I go 100 pounds doing benches, that's a lot these days. So it just kind of altered it so that there'd be less risk of injury. And you know, I still do, you know, martial arts training and still, you know, keep everything kind of supple and bouncing around and all that good old stuff. But there's an amazing technique that Eric has me do that's just really saves all the tendons and joints and bones and everything else. So it's pretty cool. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy, and I pulled up some video of you, man. Man, you are ripped. Jesus Christ! I mean, plus, well,
thank you.
you have all those what do you call it? I guess you would say costumes. You know, all your outfits that you're, you know, costume that you have on stage, and all the cut off sleeves. So you have to either throw those out or
show them guns.
Yeah, you either got to throw those out or buy new or get in shape, right? I mean, that's what the
absolutely, yeah. That's it. It forces you into the latter. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, well, listen, good for you on that, and yeah, that's good. It makes helps the world go around. And Eric says, as everybody on this show, because we have him on, like, I don't know, is it every 10 shows or so? Because we're
actually due. We're due.
Yeah, we're due for him to bring him in, and so we try to inspire our listeners on fitness as well. So, and yeah, so cool guy, and we're happy for that. And Jess is on a roll here.
Yeah, I wanted to know, how do you keep up with that rock star life schedule? I mean, you say you're on tour now, and then you're going on tour with back with Def Leppard later this year. I mean, it just seems like so rough. Late nights, early mornings.
I'll tell you in a nutshell. So I stopped drinking 30 years ago, and it really made it easy. I haven't had a drink at all, so I don't drink alcohol. And I think that there's something, I actually read this. I was on a bodybuilder forum once, and don't ask, but I was on this thing, and and I've heard this before, and they're like, "Dude, you drink?" And it's like, "No, man," because if you have one drink of alcohol, it stops your body absorbing nutrients and nourishment for 5 hours. It treats it as a poison. So you could be eating the best thing in the world. You could be working out like crazy. But for those 5 hours that you've had alcohol, you've just kind of voided it out. So a lot of the guys who are really serious about that don't even go anywhere near it, because it's, why would you do that? So that's something, you know, I really believe that, you know, I stopped drinking for other reasons. You know, I couldn't really control it when I was kind of getting off my face. So I kind of stopped doing that, and that it just made all the difference in the world. You know, I've never smoked. I'm kind of, I don't drug it or anything, and that really makes the difference. And I think consistency with working out and also eating clean food. You know, it's not just good being a vegan. You have to research, you know, what you're doing. I try and eat as much raw food as I can, like, you know, and that means, you know, greens or even fruit in its most basic, you know, form, and that really helps. You know, processed food is not good for the body, but obviously we'll have it because it tastes great, and every now and again it's totally fine, but it shouldn't be the norm. It shouldn't be kind of like a fast food diet. And I think, you know, it's pretty straightforward. You know, people go, I can't lose weight on this and that. And it's like, well, you're eating poison. And that really helps the energy level for me. And I usually wake up at 6:30 at home and usually on tour. I mean, this tour is a little different because it's, you know, we're all piled on a bus, and I do 2 sets a night. You know, I do a Delta Deep, which is my other band, which is kind of a blues thing. And we do half an hour of that. I have a 2-hour break while John Petrucci and Joe Satriani goes on. And I go on for another half hour, and we jam and play like crazy guitar for half an hour. And that's great. But normally on a Def Leppard tour, you know, it's a bit more structured. You get a little bit more time in the day and stuff like that, and it's just one big show, and you're getting ready for that. So again, over the years, you kind of prep for that, and you're ready for it. But yeah, I wake up at 6:30, even on tour. I can't, for some bizarre reason, it's like ding, time zones, everything at 6:30, and there I go. So yeah, make the best of that.
Well, that's so. We're all chefs sitting around the table, so I have a bunch more questions about that, but we'll skip on. I was going to ask you more about the vegan diet, but you Def Leppard tour is going to kick in pretty quick, and then you guys are stopping in Houston, I see.
We are. We actually start in May, and we're getting dates for next year already. I think they want us to do some festivals, and we play England at the end of this year, and Japan, Australia, New Zealand as well. We haven't got those dates in yet, and then next year, but yeah, Europe, South America, and some more American dates. So it's non-stop. It's like a bit of a snowball thing, it gets rolling and off you go. So yeah, it's really important to eat right and eat the right stuff. Enjoy what you're eating as well. As you know, it's like it's all about that. You can't just eat twigs and berries all the time. So you just have to balance it out, and I think there's an absolute way of doing it. I feel fantastic. I feel at 60, I feel like as better than I did at 25. So it's just a few things that just research it. It's pretty straightforward.
Oh, that's awesome. So I don't know if Eric told me, but do you have some Houston ties? Because I think you were in Houston a while back, and we were going to try to connect or something. Is that right, or am I imagining things?
Well, we were playing there on the G3 tour. We were just swinging through. Yeah.
Right. Hey, well, listen, I think it's in September. You guys are going to be here. So our whole team, we're going to go buy tickets and come see you. But hey, listen, man, if we'll put on a real nice meal for you guys. If you want to connect, if you have a half a minute, we'll do a little cooking.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Yeah,
we'll put on a home cooked meal for you, and we'll roll out the red carpet and welcome you into Houston, and we'll have a little fun. But
that'd be awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, cool. So,
well, I mean, you wanted to ask a little bit more about the vegan diet. I'm sorry. I've been trying to tell these guys because I watch all these documentaries, and I've been trying to eat healthier too.
Hey, man, I got a vegan burger that's going on my menu soon.
Oh, that's right.
It was damn good.
Kudos to you.
Yeah. But them being chefs and myself as well, we have a hard time wrapping our minds around, I guess, a vegan diet. Or these two do.
Right.
You want to talk about it a little more? Maybe explain it to them.
Well, Phil, let me set that up too, because we do everything under the sun. We do about 80 to 100 parties a week where we work at, and so it's a busy place. And then we have to. And vegan is you can't. Someone say, "Hey, I need a vegetarian. I need gluten free or whatever." But when they say vegan, you got to stop everything and really, no, I mean, because there's a lot more to it, and you just can't swing and put a bunch of vegetables on a plate and it's no dairy or anything else. So to do it really well, I guess the question I was going to ask, adding on to Jessica's, is that probably when you're traveling, you have very rarely does someone say, "Wow, that was an amazing vegan meal." So anyway, we're teeing that up for you.
Well, it kind of it's becoming easier and easier. I remember when I first went vegetarian, everyone, you go to Germany and it'd be like, "Here is gushy with bacon," and it's like, "Well, I don't eat meat," and they go, "Well, you take the bacon off," and it's like, "Wow, really?" And it's changed so drastically since then. You can pretty much go anywhere around the world, and I do it. It was I couldn't eat meat. I actually started getting. I was going, "Oh my God, it's a dead body. I'm going to throw up. This is like rotting flesh." All of that thing, So that was the reason for me. It wasn't like a health thing. Later on, I kind of learned about it and learned what you could do. I have a friend, Jenny Cook. She's a raw vegan chef, and she comes out. A friend of ours had skin psoriasis for 8 years, couldn't get rid of it. She put him on a raw food diet, and this cleared up in 3 days. We have another friend who has Crohn's, and just as a byproduct, really, she put him on this diet, and he wasn't eating any kind of acidic foods or drinking alcohol. All of these things really, really, make the body, throw it into an acidic state as opposed to your pH should be alkaline and all that stuff. This is regardless of, this is not the reason I do it, but she cleared that up and he lost 20 odd pounds. She got 100 pounds off of Boy George. I don't know if you ever saw what he looked like a few years ago, but she put him on this raw food diet, and it was nothing processed at all. It was like a totally different thing, and nothing cooked over a certain. It was like gently warmed. I mean, for you guys, it's a real challenge. But she makes this stuff, and it's actually incredible. So, you know, everyone went on. They lost all this weight. Everyone started feeling great in no time at all. And, you know, juicing and all that stuff. So, I'm not suggesting for a minute that you know you even do anything like that. But it's kind of nice every now and again having something that's so kind of left field, and it's that it's been prepared in a different way. It's kind of cool. I mean, I cook food all the time. You know, I pig out every now and again. You know, I have a cheat day or two, and it's awesome. You know, fries and God knows what. But yeah,
that's my weakness too. French fries. Damn those French fries. But
I know.
So what about the rest of the guys in the band? Are they? In Def Leppard.
No, they're not actually at all. We have 2.5 vegans. As me and Rick Allen, our drummer, he's a vegan, and Vivian Campbell's he's a pescatarian, so we give him kind of a half. And then Joe Elliott and Rick Savage are carnivores, but Joey's really healthy lately. You know, he's kind of gone into an organic thing, and it's he does gluten free. I didn't really care about the gluten free thing. I've only ever met one person who has an allergy to wheat, and it really freaks them out. Their eyes go all glazed and stuff like that. But I've never actually seen it on other people, so I suspect it's more of a fad or a craze than actual, all of that stuff. So
I agree with you there. Anyway, we try to help all those people.
Accommodate.
Yeah, Jesus Absolutely. Christ. I mean, we get 100 of them, but what do you think is going back to Def Leppard days? I mean, you guys have amazing success for over 30 years, some really great times. What do you think is your I mean, you probably have hundreds of them, but what do you think is one of your top 1, 2, or 3 fondest memories, the most amazing time in your life while with the band?
When we finished the Hysteria record, that was really special. We put so much into it. Our producer, Mutt Langer, was just incredible. He said, like, if we want to succeed here, the songs have got to be great, and we got to put a lot more effort and energy into it. And we did. And I think that we learned so much from him. And when we finished that record, we really didn't care if it sold 2 copies. We were so thrilled with how it turned out, and it actually, obviously, it was a real slow starter at first. You know, we released the album, didn't break even. Everyone goes, "Oh, you guys are done," and then we released "Pour Some Sugar on Me," and the reason that was the strippers in Florida started requesting it on local radio because they were dancing. This is the God's honest truth. They were requesting it locally, and it was blowing up. You know, you get these radio reports and it'd be like, "Pour Some Sugar, #1. It's Florida." And everyone's going, "Well, why is that?" And it's like, these girls were requesting it. And it honestly snowballed from there. And then the album went to #1, the single went crazy, and it was back on top again. So that was really fantastic. We've had a few really special moments. You know, we played the Download Festival in England, and when it was called Donington, and it was our first big show after Rick Allen had lost his arm and come back, and everyone stood up, standing ovation. There was people crying and all that stuff, and that was pretty amazing. There's been so many of them, really. You know, it's in such a long career. There's so many things that you look. You know, whether it's doing the Live 8 concert, there's 1 million people, and you look and you go, "No, well, I can see 100,000, but I'm not going to count any more than that." And you know, that was crazy. So there's been, I think when you succeed, when you've really worked hard at something and it comes to fruition, that's the one that kind of payoff. You go, "Oh, wow, okay, we really worked hard at that, and we're getting kind of a news for it. It's great."
Well, that's awesome. I mean, how does what an amazing guy Rick is, right? The drummer. I mean, how does
crazy, yeah.
Oh man, I mean, how does this guy? How is he so good? I mean, how he lost his arm in a tragic accident? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was 21, New Year's Eve. I mean, even that story was in the moors in England between Sheffield and Manchester. It's like, you know, do you ever see American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
That movie. Okay, so you remember where they're going, the werewolf gets them. He was basically driving. That's where he was driving through the real place that was that, and had this car crash. New Year's Eve, no one around.
Shit.
The next 2 cars that come out of the blue, a nurse going to a party with ice and a cop, off-duty cop. They load him up into the car. They put his arm, which had come off, on ice.
Jeez.
And take him straight to the hospital. And these two end up marrying each other, by the way, the cop and the nurse, which is fascinating. And Rick, they saved Rick's life. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's the best story.
And then Rick, you know, came back, and you know, he couldn't play. Obviously, the arm got infected and all of that stuff. So Matt Langer, again, our producer, he said, well, why don't you just use your left foot instead and you know, trigger it with electronic kind of drum kit and everything. And the day me and Steve Clark went to see Rick in hospital, he was practicing at the end of the bed on a pillow. And said, I'm going to do everything with this left foot instead of the arm. And that's exactly what he did. So he worked really hard. He worked his ass off. You know, we used to share a house in Dublin, and it'd be up in the morning at 8 and go till midnight, you know, every single day, just practicing until he got it down. And it worked great. And you know, it was a great story, obviously, but, you know, just the drive and determination, you know, it just all worked out. And now you know, I don't even, the biggest thrill is you can't even tell that you're playing with a drummer who's got one arm. You know, I go up there and I don't even think about it. You know, it's been 30 odd years, and you know, it's the most normal thing in the world now. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, God bless those guys finding him on the road and that.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, listen, Phil, we're up against it a little bit here, and we have so much more to talk about. But you know, the show is Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life, and if you could go back 30 years, what would be the advice you'd give yourself?
Well, the consistency thing, if I didn't know about that, you know, it's the same with, you know, diet, exercise, anything. It's consistent. Like, we done a thing the other day in New York City, me, Joe Satriani and John Petrucci, who are just amazing guitar players. And, you know, some fans were asking, they said, so how do you become a great guitar player? That came up again. It was consistency. So it's, you can't, someone's going to take your place if you let them. Mm-hmm. And someone's always waiting in the wings, and someone who works a bit harder, whether it's athletes, is exactly the same. You know, you see it in boxing. You know, you take your finger off the pulse for a second, someone's going to whoop your ass. You know, you don't train as hard, and someone's going to be there and they're going to beat you down. You know, see it in UFC, see it in everything, every single sport. Mm. And guitar playing, being in a band is absolutely no different. There's we have this theory. The reason we're around a manager who passed away last year, Howard Kaufman, said, you know, you guys, we're going to succeed by being the last man standing. So these other bands are going to drop off. They're going to have drug problems. They're going to have this. They're going to have alcohol problems. They're going to have that. If you just keep going and going and going, consistency, back to that, we'll be the last man standing. We'll be the last band out there. Mm. And that's exactly what's happening. You know, our ticket sales this summer are going through the roof. Mm. We're going to be playing with Journey as well, which is another great band. And it just keeps coming back to that thing, that consistency thing, and the determination, and not letting. And you keep having to improve as well. It's I know it seems a bit hard, but we actually sing better than we did last year. We play better than we did, and I think you just have to keep that trajectory going. And yeah, it's not difficult. It's just what it is. It's just you accept that and go, okay, yeah. So it makes it a little harder, but yeah, we're going to do that. And boom, before you know it. Again, like the working out thing, like Eric the trainer, it's like do it so you don't, mess up your joints and just have a slightly different approach. You just go off left field there and figure something else out, and it works a treat. So that's what the advice I'd give. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, I was blessed that my brother back in high school, when he was in high school, he had the biggest stereo, the biggest speakers in his room, and he had the headphones, and he was smoking a few joints back then. But he went all the I was the youngest, so he bought all the records and all the albums and went to all the concerts, and so I was always in his room, and I remember, I can remember those were my first albums was Boston and Journey and Styx and Aerosmith and of course your band. I mean, Def Leppard. I mean, it was all at the same time, and I kind of grew up. I kind of grew up that way, and that was pretty cool. But hey, listen, Phil, I sure do appreciate you being on, and we'll have to stay in touch. And I'm serious. When you guys come to town, if you got a half a second, we'll put on a big spread for you guys, a big vegan. So we'll make those other guys eat vegan as well.
Well, they do anyway. That'd be awesome. Perhaps you could come down to the show and kind of. I don't know if you got any kind of stuff that you could just put up there. Is it like we used to carry a kitchen with us, to be quite honest, and we used to do that, but we don't do that anymore. So but yeah, something like that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all going to get tickets and come to the show as well. Where's it? Is it Toyota Center? We'll find out anyway. I know I saw it was in Houston. We're excited. So, but we'll listen.
Well, we'll definitely be in touch, and let's do that. That sounds great.
Yeah, maybe we'll even get Eric to come over and come down.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And Alicia.
Okay.
Yeah. You're at the Toyota Center. Yeah.
Okay. Here you go.
All right, brother. Well, Thank you so much for being with us. And by the way, do you want to plug something? Where can our fans find you guys or find the schedules? I guess the Def Leppard website or Twitters or anything you want to plug here?
DefLeppard.com, but I'm also on the G3 tour, which is it's Guitar 3. It's actually about guitars. But my other band, Delta Deep, are playing, and we're kind of like a extreme blues. It's like kind of hard rock blues in the tradition of like Hendrix Experience and that kind of stuff. But Debbie Black was an amazing singer, and our second live album came out, East Coast Live, so we're plugging that as well. And I just produced the Tesla album, which will be out in May as well, and they're going to be on tour. So busy.
Yeah, God bless you, man. I'm just I'm proud to be on the same line with you today, and good to know you, and look forward to seeing you this fall.
Me too, and I really look forward to this meal as well now. So we've got a bit of time. Prep work, some mental preparation, and that'd be cool.
Shit, man, I'm gonna get started right now. Yeah, we're gonna work on it right now.
We may go off in there, but absolutely, keep it in the fridge.
Hey, Phil, thanks so much for being with you, and that kind of pretty much wraps up another episode of the Recipe Podcast today. We thank so much Phil Collen for being with us today. We appreciate you, and ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to him. For taking time out of his tour to be with us. And listeners, please go rave, rank, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you listen to our show. And tell all your friends to listen in and listen to all the wonderful stories from these amazing people. So thank you so much. Love you for that. And so all remember, you're special, you're great. Make an impact on your life today. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into The Recipe Podcast. You can find more episodes at chefcharlescarroll.com. And while you're there, feel free to ask questions or recommend guests for our show. To purchase Chef's latest book, The Recipe, go to theingredientsofgreatness.com. Have an incredible week. We'll see you next time.